Today was bad. Light work, people. Light work. Seems we're soft all over the pitch. Good evening. Good evening. It's me again. Yep, it's my face on your screens. This is a lot of work, but when at the end of the lot of work, you get a scoreline of Liverpool 2, Leicester City 0, and you get a debut like that, and then you get the Punisher, which is Jota, putting 2 goals away. It's all worth it. It's all worth it. It makes the show so much easier to enjoy and talk about, and we're relaxed. And the last time we played Leicester, Conroy, me and you done the watch along. So this time I done a strategic decision to ban you from the watch along. I thought,
Chris, you asked, and I didn't even reply to you because I just was not going to do it again.
I wanted to see who's the bad luck between me and you.
100% me. It is
and
me.
This was the way of working it out.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
How are you doing, Conroy? How you doing?
No, good, mate. And I know we're going to get into the game. I've got to be honest, it was a strange one for me tonight. I don't usually feel comfortable, but I did. I felt actually okay with that one. It's unlike me because I usually get the most stressed out of all of us. So yeah, great result, and I know we'll talk about it. But yeah, looking forward to chatting about it.
Good man. Evan, I know you've been busy making all sorts of thumbnails and designs, and suddenly you think you're Picasso. You know what I mean? Like,
who's that?
Oh, don't even tell me. I don't know. You're trying to be funny. Okay. You may be American, but you know who Picasso is. Come on.
Yeah.
How you doing? How you feeling? While I pop a Pringle.
Yeah, I feel fantastic. I feel absolutely fantastic. We are so good at buying players. I'll just leave it at that.
I was hoping you speak for about 10 seconds more. So
we're like really good at buying players, and I feel really good about it. And Grizz just needs to chew a little bit, maybe do a little bit of flossing, wash it down with some water, and he's good. Okay.
Perfect timing.
All right.
And ladies and gentlemen, we're all welcoming someone who's making a debut on my channel. Yeah, we were on the Trippers once before, but first time on my channel. Very, very warm welcome to Mick from the Copite podcast. My man, how are you?
Yeah, nice one for having me on. I feel a lot better after watching that. A few nervy moments, but I think towards the end, Diogo Jota, what was that? 17 goals in like 30 games, is it something like that in all competitions this season? It's just, I'm sure we'll discuss it at length soon, but yeah, just an absolute beast, isn't he?
I don't know what the word is. Beast, yes. The one word that kept popping on my head while I was doing the watch along was the Punisher. I just think he can be so quiet, and I was actually talking about him playing on the right hand side of the attack today, and I was thinking that's my only slight concern, that I don't like him out there. But you keep him on the pitch, you keep him around the penalty box, and he'll do what he does. But listen, we're going to get into all that. We're going to try and dissect everything that we can. People, don't forget to like, subscribe, like on your way in, subscribe if you haven't, all of that formality stuff. And we'll get right into it, hopefully. And look, if the 4 of us forget to discuss something that you may want to discuss, hit us up in the chat, and we'll make sure we remember. Conroy, as per always, go with you first. Team lineup comes out. I think we kind of anticipated Hendo from the way Klopp spoke in the press conference that he's going to be injured. He's slightly injured, so we thought he's not going to risk him. And then the big surprise-ish, or was it a big surprise? Mo is kept on the bench. Luis Diaz starts, and Curtis Jones gets the nod in midfield. Your thoughts when the team was announced?
I had a strange day, guys. So me and Grizz agreed that we're playing it safe. We're like, don't start Salah. You're going to listen to sports scientists. You're going to follow that. That's what Klopp's going to do. But because I spoke to about 1 billion people, 500 million people before this game, I was convinced.
My mind was swayed.
Yes, and it shouldn't be, because genuinely we know Klopp will stick by that. And in my head, before I got swayed, I was like, put him on the bench, compromise, say I'll give you the last half an hour, but come on, you've done like 320 minutes. This is not smart to just shove you right back in. So I should have stuck by that, going with the smart decision. I didn't, and now I fell the wayside by that. However, I do think that was good management, to be honest. I feel like Diaz playing, why not? He's not like he's been injured. He's played for Porto. He's played in the Champions League. So there's this kind of ease him in. I think we will ease him in, but starting tonight was fine for me. And then I feel like because the team's done well since Mo and Mane's been away, I feel like Klopp's kind of used that incentive to be like, come on, guys, you can deal with this one. And Mo's on the bench as an insurance policy. I was okay with it. As I say, probably the only surprise for me, Grizz, wasn't the Diaz one. It was probably slight surprise at Mo, but actually Jones getting the start. And no, good. I think it's a good move as well because let's be honest, Elliott comes back. That's all you hear about. Deservedly so, brilliant potential. But Jones is a good midfielder as well, and I think it was a good nod towards him from Klopp to be like, you know what, you're still part of the plans as well. So that was the only surprise, but genuinely quite confident going into it to get revenge for the previous watch along we done at the King Power, which we'll not talk about.
No, we shall not talk about it. It's a thing of the past. Fuck it, it's gone. Evan, team lineup for you. Thoughts on the team lineup? Happy? Jones was the major surprise, I must admit. Yeah, I don't think anyone predicted Jones starting. Me and Conroy thought Salah might be rested because of the sports science thing. But again, we were swayed by everyone saying, no, you don't say no to Mo.
By 3 o'clock, I was gone by the way.
If Mo's coming back from Africa on the first flight back,
I know.
How the fuck are you going to say no to Mo when he says, Jurgen, I'm back? And did you see his face in training? But the sports science team prevailed. Jurgen Klopp showed him who is the real boss. So how did you feel about the selection situation?
Sexy. The team was sexy at first look. Listen, if you're a Liverpool fan and you see Thiago and Fabinho starting together and you don't know that at this point this essentially guarantees 3 points, then you haven't been paying attention, or you haven't been following me on Twitter where I talk about it every other day. So Liverpool, the lineup comes out. I'm like, the numbers say we have like a 99% chance of winning this game. And sure enough, that's what happened. Jones was the big surprise. I did not expect Mo to start. Pretty sure he was going to be in the squad though. But yeah, other than that, I was happy to see Curtis Jones starting because I thought throughout most of his Liverpool career, he's been really unfortunate. And when I say his Liverpool career, I mean about 2 seasons. He's played in a lot of like makeshift Frankenstein midfield threes, oftentimes with no real center backs behind him for that 1 year. So he's played in a lot of dysfunctional teams. The amount of times he's been able to play in a objectively first choice midfield, it's been kind of slim to none for him. So there was no excuses today. Of course, very happy to see Luis Diaz start. The one part of the lineup that I did take issue with was I don't like Jota on the right wing. I think that, it's his third best position across the front three. I like him through the middle as like a poacher, and I like him on the left doing, out and out winger things. But on the right, I think you nullify a bit of what he's great at. And I know he's 2-footed. He's very ambidextrous. He can cut in and take shots on the left. But yeah, it's just not where I prefer to see him. But overall, sexy. I like the team.
Mick, Evan describes it as sexy. How did you describe the lineup when you saw it? And would you have done, I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but give me your raw feelings when you saw that lineup. Because I'm not going to lie, I was very surprised with Curtis Jones. I wasn't so surprised with Mo. And again, like Evan said, the way that the attack was sort of the formation with Mo being rested, you always, the first question as Liverpool fans we always ask is, who's going to play on that right instead of Mo? That's the first question we ask. Bobby doesn't like doing it. Luis Diaz very rarely did it for Porto. He can play there, but he's more comfortable on the left, and we're going to get onto him. Diogo is the one, isn't he? He's just a machine at the moment. We knew he's like a all-rounder. He can play all three, give it the same energy, give it the same effort. Was you okay with Diogo, and was you okay with Curtis in midfield?
Yeah, I think like the guys have just said, really, like the Salah one, I think like Conroy, I kind of did convince myself like the second half of like this morning where I was like, he might actually just throw Salah in because he's like you've just said, he's an absolute beast. He's not just a beast of a footy player, but a beast of a a specimen. Like, he's just a physical specimen, isn't he? And I know he's only just came back, but I thought the conversation would be Klopp would ask Salah if he's ready to play. Salah would say, yeah, and we'd go, yeah, all right then, go on then, you play. But yeah, I think Jota on the right, he does. I think, like Evan said, he doesn't seem to have as much of an impact there, because like he does like to cut in, and those surging runs from the left where he does cut in. I don't think any defender can stop him when he's in full flow and he's going into the centre of the field from that left hand position. You can't really stop him. But I mean, he's done a job on the right and he scored 2 goals. So I mean, he's done his job. But I think in terms of Curtis Jones, I think I did expect Harvey Elliott to start, to be fair. But that's the thing. We've got some good options now. So Curtis Jones, like, I don't think it was his greatest performance. Curtis Jones, there was a few shaky moments first half where he's holding onto the ball maybe a little bit too long. But we just need to maybe think that he's still 21. He has really good games, but maybe 2 or 3 games he goes on a good spell, and then he has maybe not so good a game the game after. But I think you kind of need to expect that of a 21-year-old. I think Harvey Elliott's the exception in that he's 18, and usually when he's played for us before,
the maturity of a 30-year-old, yeah.
Exactly. But I think Curtis Jones is more along the lines of he's going to be a good footballer. We just need to give him the time. You can see he's got the agility, he's got the pace, the eye for the pass. It's just maybe I think his role in being able to play a lot of positions maybe goes against him, and that he doesn't know what his best position is, and I don't think Jürgen maybe does, and he's kind of thrown on the left of a 3, but he might be the left of a front 3 in the future, or a false 9, or a 10, or who knows, and that's the thing. He's got so many strings to his bow in terms of what he can play. I think we just need to kind of nurture that, and we'll see where he ends up eventually.
I think, sorry guys, I'm just going to say, I think with Jones as well, I think the biggest thing for me is, because of that inconsistent, you can tell sometimes he's overthinking because he wants to keep the ball. And that maybe partly because he made one mistake against West Brom and you never heard the end of it for 6 months. So that might have something to do with it. But for me, it's like, I think if he can clear his mind, he is really good. Because I think he definitely sees the right pass sometimes. He just hesitates at times. And I think there is a good player in there. I'm not saying he's maybe going to be in our starting, but as a squad player, I think he's useful. And I would also add as well, there's no proof that Harvey Elliott has been consistent either. He's played 5 games, even he's very good, but even he will have inconsistency. That's what young players have. So I think it's unfair to expect them to be 10 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 all the time. But I would agree, Mick. I get what you're saying. Elliott's different. I think Elliott is bought at 16 and everyone's seen the potential this guy had, and Jones is probably going in the normal trajectory.
Conroy, I liked I think, Evan, did you want to come in there, Evan?
Yeah.
Go on then.
I real quick on Curtis Jones, and I don't want to recycle anything that I've said in previous shows, because as you guys know, I'm a big advocate. I just think it boils down to people not being willing to accept that there's a level for an academy player at Liverpool in between Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kevin Stewart. You know what I mean? And people don't understand that middle tier sort of academy player that you could call Curtis Jones is so incredibly useful and is a much more sustainable model than trying to produce a Trent or a Gerrard every 10 to 15 years.
But a Trent and a Gerrard is a one-off. That's not what academies are for. Like, academies are for excelling on. It's like Jones is still probably upper. Like, Jones in itself being a first-team player is pretty rare.
Don't get me wrong, Conroy. In my headspace, I'm very far from bidding him to Crystal Palace for 20 million. Don't worry, I'm not even close to that.
No, but I think your comparison's really good. See what you said. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Because the thing about Curtis Jones, I just don't understand how people can be negative about him being at Liverpool, because he represents a win-win scenario. If he fulfills his potential, he's going to be a great player. If he doesn't, he's going to be sold for a really good chunk of cash. So I'm not sure why we find time to complain about it.
Okay.
Well said. I think we've already covered the Curtis Jones debate. I thought we are going to have a big deep debate, but you guys have smashed it with the analysis there. And I kind of agree, Evan, that. And I also liked Conroy's point, what you made about sort of Jurgen Klopp letting him feel part of the team, despite all week we've been hearing about the strength and depth, especially around the midfield area, right? And and sort of his name probably being the last in the options, maybe Milner, but just above Milner. I think it's fair to say, right?
Yeah.
but yet he throws him in. He leaves Naby on the bench. And I think Naby is nailed on to start against Burnley, by the way. But let's see how that goes. I think there was a man management to this whole thing as well. Did you see that man management thing from Klopp saying, look, I believe in you, I have faith in you? And also what Mick said about not knowing his position really, because how often have we seen him sort of playing a variety of midfield roles? Again, today was slightly different again, wasn't it? So there's a combination of things that we need to be patient with, right? Like you said.
Absolutely. And I think, it wasn't so long ago, only a few weeks ago, guys, we were talking about a Klopp quote about Curtis Jones, where he essentially said, and this was really rare because Klopp rarely says things like this. He said, it's time for Curtis to start showing that he's going to fulfill his big potential because I really like him and I really rate him as a player. And normally Klopp doesn't issue these call to arms to his players. Normally it's just constant praise and backing 24/7. So anything like that sort of stands out like a sore thumb. But yeah, there's definitely some man management going on. Big thing I noticed was right on 25, him and Thiago switch sides. So to reinforce what you were saying, Grizz, he's trusted not just as like a half space, left-sided attacking midfielder, but he's trusted to go do that on the other side as well. So he's clearly backed by management. But you're right, he was not the name that was dominating the Liverpool Twitter sphere when we were talking about who might play against Leicester.
And Mick, that's the beauty of this squad depth now, isn't it? Like we literally from having sort of no options and playing the same set of players seemingly for the last 3 seasons. Now it's very difficult to actually predict a lineup without having egg on your face. Like literally every week, Jurgen Klopp is going to have to forget lineup. There's going to be some quality players that are not even going to make the matchday squad. So for example, today, no Jordan Henderson, no Sadio Mane. Help me out, guys. No Origi. Gomez. Was Gomez on the bench?
No.
I don't think so. Ox was on the bench, but
Ox was on the bench. No Gomez.
No Gomez.
So that's not even on the bench, Mick.
No.
This, for me, without a shadow of a doubt, is the strongest squad I can remember, and I'm probably the oldest here.
Yeah, I think it is. In my lifetime anyway, I think obviously you look at the Premier League winning side, and it was in terms of like starting 11, we were fortunate we didn't get any injuries that year, but I think we were just another type of beast that year as well in terms of just consistency and just whatever type of team we came up against, we just figured them out and battered them. Whereas I think now we've got more options from the bench, like you said. Bench today was Kanate, Milner, Keita, Salah, Oxlade-Chamberlain, Minamino, Tsimikas, Harvey Elliott, and Kelleher. Even Kelleher is like a quality second string goalie, but when you've got those options in reserve, and like you said, the games are going to start coming thick and fast. Champions League is going to come back soon. So there's a lot of options there. Naby Keita obviously can play on the left of the 3. Thiago can, Curtis Jones can, and you've got Henderson and Elliott who can play on the right. You've Henderson who can play in the 6. Fabinho can play there, and then obviously Luis Diaz who played today. Just like I just felt like that was a free hit for him to start today's game in terms of just go for it and do your best. And I'm sure that's what Klopp said to him. But he was just an absolute. He was unbelievable today, Luis Diaz. I can't actually believe how good it was. He done everything but score, but the chances that he had and just the creation that he had and carrying the ball and strength, getting stuck in.
I know you want first dibs on Diaz, and because you're our guest, you may get first dibs on Diaz. But hold fire, because we all want to speak about Luis Diaz. We could probably do a whole fucking show on Luis Diaz.
I think you have. I always listened when he signed him. Come on, it was 8 a.m.
Oh yeah, we have. Oh, fucking literally did do it. Sorry, no, but I mean, in talk about his debut. But Conroy, that first last night, I was expecting a high octane start. I thought we need to put these to the sword from the get go. We don't need to give them any encouragement like we did in the other game, even though we were creating chances at the King Power. Every chance that we missed was having a positive effect for them. They were growing maybe in confidence every time we missed a chance. Oh, okay, we got away with that one. The penalty, okay, we got away with that one. Fucking that twat. Schmeichel making save after save after save. This was different. Even though we had them boxed in for the first 5-10 minutes, we weren't making any clear-cut chances. And they managed to have a couple of counters on us, but it was because of our lapse of concentration in possession a couple of times. Trent, a couple of times Matip. How did you find that opening 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, very similar, Grizz. As you said, ironically, I'd say at the King Power, we actually cut them open a few times, like properly cut them open. And this one, kind of similar to, I've completely forgot, but the match I was going to say, but a recent match, the first 45 was kind of like that. There has been games like that this season for us at Anfield. It's been be patient, is normal, because teams are going to come and sit in a low block. We should not be surprised. This happens all the time. It's not an excuse to why you can't score. That's not how football works. But for me, it just kind of felt like we're trying to work out. It was okay, I would say. The pace wasn't too quick, but we'll try to figure them out. But I've got to be honest, I feel like you can afford to do that at Anfield, I think, this season, because I feel like we've got that extra gear that we've shown. And because we have won so many games, we've maybe not started as sharp. I'm more confident now. Let's be honest, guys, we don't start like a Brendan Rodgers 13-14 season. As sometimes people try to convince us, I think rival fans say that, we don't. We sometimes don't start like fireworks. I think some games it is more measured. And I just felt like it was like that tonight, Grizz. Kind of figure them out, try to find where the spaces are. And you have to remember as well, as much as we're going to, I'll let Mick talk about Diaz, that's a new front three, isn't it, working together. So they're going to try and get their link up and connection, not just with the front three, but also with the wing backs.
You know, you talk about the front three and a new, obviously the new individual, but as a collective as well, Evan. But it's the beauty of it, and I was smiling through every link up that he had with Robertson. It's like that was Sadio Mane. That could easily have been Sadio Mane linking up with Robertson. That could easily have been Jota when he plays out there with Robertson. And I think it was crucial that sort of amongst them, Thiago was there as well. Because obviously we're going to go into individual performances, but just that triangle, it took away from the pressure of the right-hand side usually. So usually we always rely on the Salah, Henderson, Trent, or Elliott, as the case may be sometimes. Today, the few occasions that we managed to work a move, it was always this side. How is that a sign of great coaching? Is that a sign of great players just knowing ball? You know what? I put it down to one of the many things as well, communication. Because Bobby, Jota, Thiago, Diaz, Fabinho speak, I believe, very similar language, or if not the same language. And that helps, right?
Yeah, absolutely. All those guys could speak both Spanish and Portuguese, to clarify. So whichever they felt like speaking on the night. I could not believe. Oh, actually, I could believe. I should expect it at this point, but I don't think I was fully mentally prepared to see how seamlessly Luis Diaz was going to slot in. Normally, you would expect a player who hasn't been fully integrated yet. He might not notice Robertson on the overlap. He might not know when to recycle possession. But for me, it seemed like he had been doing this for at least a year. And
I know I just bigged up the communication, but to understand Robertson, right, in his Conroy slang accent, right, must have been daunting as well. So he's passed a few tests right there.
It's wildly impressive because when Conroy speaks, I just smile and nod most of the time because I don't really know. I'm kidding.
God, if you think I'm bad, you would last 2 minutes in Scotland because I enunciate, honestly.
It's I probably wouldn't be able to handle Scotland, but I can handle Conroy in small doses. I was blown away with how easy it was, and Grizz, I was watching the watch along. I had you on the laptop on the couch next to me. It's like we were watching the game together, and you were just floating in the air every single time Luis Diaz touched the ball, and me too. And I had the luxury of being sort of 10 to 15 seconds ahead of you, Grizz. So every time something great happened, I would celebrate and then look over at you on the couch and you would start to
smile. I was just like a kid.
Yeah. It's like double the serotonin. It felt great. But yeah, Luis Diaz, the only thing missing today was a goal for him, right? That's the only thing missing from his performance because he seemed to have such a great understanding of what's been going on. And, like I said, we are so good at signing players. It's gotten to the point where if you came up to me and you said you were a Liverpool employee and you had a laptop in your hands and you said we need to get Ashley Barnes, I'd be like, okay. I'd fall right in line. I'd just be like, yeah, El Mohammadi, sure, let's do it. You know what I mean? Like, it's gotten to that point. But yeah, love Diaz.
Mick, it's you and Diaz now, because I'm such a generous host and a kind host. I always give the easy topic and the most talked about and the most loved topic to the newcomers. And what impressed you most? Because it could be anything. It could be the way he held up the ball. All people have been saying is he needs to get into the gym very quickly. But all I've been coming back with is watch him, his core strength. Very similar to how Jota, you look at Jota and he doesn't look anything physically, but he's so fucking strong. I could tell you so many things, as Evan says, and I did tell my viewers and subscribers what I thought of him. But you have the floor. Tell me what you enjoyed. Tell me what made you smile watching Luis Diaz make his debut at Anfield today.
Oh God, like you said before, how long have you got? Like, it's like I said earlier, I think it was like a free hit today. Like, if he didn't have a great debut, it's like, well, we've put him in there. He's had a taste of Anfield from the start, a taste of the Premier League from the start, and then we just bring Salah on for him if it wasn't going well. But I think you could see pretty early on that he's just got that, like you said, he's got that core strength, but he's also got that tactical and technical nous in terms of knowing which way to turn, knowing which way to play it. He's got that low centre of gravity. I think early on he won a header in the air and then followed it up by barging the right back over, which I think he got a free kick for in the end. But it's just little things like that where you can see that he's just ready made for Liverpool. And I think, like Evan said, it's like you get into the point where you just think, well, whoever they sign, you're just going to accept it because they very rarely miss with signings. And I think that's kind of in a way when you think, obviously in the summer, Man United and other teams are doing big business and we didn't do much. We got Kanate. You're thinking, well, I'll happily wait around for them to decide who the main man is going to be if when he signs, he's going to be the perfect fit. Because like other teams just buy square pegs, round holes, but Liverpool don't operate in that way. We operate in a way where we identify a target and a main man and then go full throttle for the full target. And then when we get him, he fits in. So he just looks absolutely unbelievable. Like in terms of just flicking, I think he flicked the ball over someone's head towards the end of the second half, and I was just like, "This fella."
Did you think? Did you have a double take and think, is that Suarez or who was that? Was that which Luis was that? Was that Luis Suarez or was that Luis Diaz? Which one was that? Because you're right. Some of the shit he was doing out there for a new boy was mesmeric. It was, as Dave says, shout out to Dave in the chat as well. He says Diaz is a Klopp system player, and I get that shout, Mick, from opposition people that, system players, but fucking hell, you got to have some talent as well. And this guy seems to. And I don't care. I'm not putting the knockers on him. I'm not cursing him. I'm not doing anything because he's going to be a fucking success. And you can see it from the get-go, can't you?
Yeah, I think he got like pretty much the whole game, didn't he, today? And I think he's shown just in that one game. Obviously, it was perfect for him. Like I said, it was a free hit. It was at home, so there's the crowd are behind us. He can go in there and show what he's made of. And I don't think there's been many players that have been thrown straight in by Klopp. I think like the likes of Salah and Mane, Van Dijk. There's been a few others who Klopp's thought, well, these are good enough to go straight into the firing line. And there's others like Fabinho, Robertson. The list's endless in terms of where I suppose they have to learn the system a little bit more. But I think after the Cardiff game, Klopp said after that Diaz is he's a natural fifth, that left-hand side for us. And I think, like you said, Grizzy, he is like a Mane incarnate, like a regen of Mane. And I think was he just turned 25? And obviously all the front three are getting towards 30. So, and we signed Jota, who's now 25 as well. So it's like you should be doing, like getting these players in, picking the right player when the players who've been in there for a long time are getting to an age where they need to be maybe phased out a little bit. I'm not saying Mane is going to get phased out, because I still think he's going to be very much first choice. But Diaz is the kind of player that can boost Sadio Mane maybe up another level in a similar way maybe that Robertson dropped a level or two start of the season, whether it was injury or COVID or whatever else, that he seemed to drop a level. And for what Robertson levels were, when he did drop a level, it was quite noticeable because of those high standards that he does have. So when Robertson did do that, Tsimikas came in, got a chance, done really well, and then you were wondering, we're getting to the point where we're going, should Tsimikas start the next game? And it was like, you go back 6 months ago, you would have been like, absolutely no chance. Robertson starts every single game. So I'm hoping similar type of rocket for Sadio Mane. Not that he needs it. I don't think he's been good. He's not been maybe the Mane that we expect in terms of final product and goals and whatever. But I think Diaz can maybe provide that bit of catalyst to show him that he wants that left-hand side spot and he's coming for it, and Mane needs to maybe step up a level if he can to keep himself in the inside.
And absolutely, that's right. I mean, what a position to be in if you've got that kind of competition in, as I've said before, in near enough every area of the pitch now, lads.
Grizz,
go on.
Go. I just want to ask a question. This is just a hunch I have. I just want to get your guys' thoughts. Even though we can all collectively agree that Diaz had a solid 7, 8 out of 10 performance today, did anybody else get the impression that he was even holding back just a little bit? Playing it safe just a little bit. And it feels crazy to say because he was ambitious. He was taking people on. He was having shots. I don't know. It's this gut feeling that I felt like he was holding back from going like full demon mode. You know what I mean?
And I tell you why. That's a sign of an intelligent player as well. Yeah. Because when you mix in ability and the intelligence to know that you're playing in the Premier League game, it's not like Cardiff, when I think he came on when we were leading, right? He did come on when we were leading, weren't we?
Yeah, 1-0. 1-0.
1-0.
Yes.
So he knows that he needs to be, he needs to know when to play the percentage ball. He needs to know when he's fronting up his defender and having a go. And I thought his decision-making, as you said, Evan, was perfect in that he knew when to take the risk and show us his, flicks like Mick referred to, or when to control the ball, very much like, again, Sadio does. When the pressure's on him, when the fucking fullback's on his back, and he showed that strength to just keep the ball in play. I just thought it was fucking, barring a goal, which will come onto the chances, it was the perfect debut, I thought.
Yeah.
Conroy, I thought it was a controlled 15, 20 minutes. I wasn't happy with the amount of chances we were creating in terms of clear-cut chances. And one of the things that really pissed us off from the King Power, I remember, was our set pieces. Me and you, I pulled my hair out, you pulled it out as well, but yours grew back, mine didn't, right? That's the difference, right?
That's it.
We went mad about the delivery of Trent and Robertson that night. I thought there was a significant difference in the quality of our set pieces tonight. And then that enables us in I think it's about the 30th minute, 34th minute, Virgil should score, right?
Yeah. I mean, great time to score, perfect time, and as well, it kind of settles the Anfield nerves in the crowd. You score there, you look forward to the second half. You're in control. Virgil, should he score? He probably should hit the corner. He probably should hit the corner, definitely. But again, you like to criticise. Kasper Schmeichel's not like a lucky goalkeeper. Kasper Schmeichel's like an unreal goalkeeper.
It was at him. It wasn't in the corner, Conroy, I think.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying the save is that. I'm just saying in general, Kasper Schmeichel.
Yes.
The corner, I think he saves that anyway, because Kasper Schmeichel, I still think, is underrated. I think he's a brilliant goalkeeper. But yeah, he should hit the corner. But then, probably because he doesn't hit the corner, it works out for us, because you might have a go at the keeper, but sometimes it's hard. If it's that point blank, to palm it wide, maybe he should. Maybe you disagree there, but that works out for us. Virgil, he should hit the corner, but thankfully it hits the keeper, comes back out, and then there's your Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler hybrid, your Fox in the box, your potentially the best, most surprising signing. I'm not saying the best signing, but probably the most surprising signing. Like this guy right now, can he get top scorer in the Premier League by the end of the year? Maybe. Salah will probably have a thing or two to say about that, but I just think he scores again. Like, just scores goals, man. Just, it's a tap in, but who cares, man? Just brilliant, honestly.
Yeah, because look, up until that moment, Evan, I was getting frustrated because of the lack of involvement of our most lethal, effective striker on the pitch. Like Diaz was mesmerizing, and I was oohing and ahhing at some of his moves, and I really liked the way Bobby dropped deep and linked up play. I thought it was one of his better performances in terms of linking up the play. But the damn thing with Bobby is it never looks like scoring. And then we got Diego Jota, who looks like scoring, and you want him to be involved in everything, but he wasn't. I was getting frustrated, and then bang, set piece, falls to the right man, the right place, and it's no fucking fluke that it's the right man at the right place, right?
Absolutely. And this is kind of what I was talking about when I said I don't like Jota out on the right, because we've seen what he can do if he just hangs out in the box long enough during a game. Doesn't even have to be particularly that much involved. You know, if you stick Diogo Jota in the box, he's going to score goals. That's what the season has told us. So yeah, absolutely, Jota is a central player in my eyes. And lo and behold, Grizz, sometimes the sport's really simple. Sometimes you stick your fox in the box guy in the box, he's going to score. And eventually something's going to fall to him. You know what I mean? And listen, yeah, it's a tap in, but you still got to be
uncanny,
there.
That feeling.
Yeah.
Do you know when pundits and commentators say some players know how to sniff out a goal? That's a prime example of sniffing out a goal.
Sheringham was really good at that, I thought. Like, see, Terry Sheringham, I thought was very good at that, always scoring tap-ins, and like, I'm not saying he's good as Lineker or Jota, Grizz, but Lineker was like, you're absolutely right. But it's no doubt that he's probably got the best movement in our team, though. Like, I think that, would you maybe agree? I think Jota is the cleverest when it comes to movement. Like, I don't think that's a coincidence. I think he's just, football intelligence is right up there. Sorry, guys, I know Mick's going to say, Grizz, I just wanted to add, Leicester obviously have conceded, I think, the most from set pieces this season. So I think it was very important as well that, I mean, the marking for the first goal is really bad, but that's how we need to look at the weaknesses of the teams we're playing and punish them for it. So I also think that was a lot of, that was important as well. We'd obviously identified that as an area of weakness.
We've got the first super chat of the night. How do I bring this back up? Here we go. Liam Bento says, I'm stopping by every channel as a public service to remind everyone that Joe Matip officially has one assist more than Jadon Sancho.
He should have two, because he gave Jota against Atletico Madrid, but mind, Jota was just offside. Should have two.
Yes. Well, he should have more. And I'm going to come to Joe Matip later on, because he's not going to get away with just being brilliant when he comes forward. I want to speak about some of his sort of defensive situations that he got himself or us into. But yeah, we get the goal, and perfect timing, Mick. Perfect timing. From then we know a sense of relief that we fucking scored past these, because they're the only ones that have stopped us from scoring in the last game. So we know we've taken the lead. My second thought straight away these days, and I don't know why, but it shouldn't have been today, is when we take the lead, or when we've taken the lead, we still haven't managed the game like we did in 1920. And obviously forget last season, but we still don't manage the game, or we don't kill off a game. We're still searching for that optimum way of handling a lead. Is that how you felt coming up to halftime? And did you think, look, get the goal, Klopp will sort out any sort of issues that we may have looked like we had, and then we'll go again in the second half and fucking attack that cop?
Yeah, I think, what was it, like 10 minutes before the second half, wasn't it, the goal? Yeah. So it was good timing in a way, but I think you get to the point where you're like, well, we've finally made the breakthrough. Should we go and get a second before halftime to really kill it off, especially at home? Or do we play it safe? But I just think at Anfield and under Klopp, there's only really one way of playing. We would never ever sit back and try and contain a team. And I think obviously it's led to a few slip ups this year. Stamford Bridge 2-2. Just I won't even.
So many, about 5 games, I think, isn't it, Connor? We've discussed before, but like there's been about 5 games where we've lost a lead, if not a 2-0 lead, a few times as well, lads. So yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I agree. Like it's trying to get that fine balance between
Yeah.
keeping the opposition at arm's length, but also getting your best players into the game. And I think, yeah, I think once Jota was up through the middle, I think after Salah came on for Bobby, I think that's when we started to dominate because we had that's when you get the right players in the right positions. That's like we said, Liverpool are as much as I hate the phrase a system team, or we've got like a lot of players that once they're in their right and correct position, that's when we flourish the most, and that's when we're our most dangerous. So I think the last 30 we looked at our best, but it's like you said earlier, Grizz, like it's trying to get that fine balance between we do look a bit vulnerable. I think James Maddison, I think it was first half, Alisson makes a good save. I don't know if it was going wide, but Ali still makes a good save. There's a couple of times where we're carved open, which you don't expect of. I mean, you probably do expect it this season, but usually of a Liverpool team, we're usually a little bit better at controlling those counters, and I think hopefully we get a little bit better at that, especially with a lot of more players coming back, being fit. Naby Keita's, and once Henderson's back in, maybe we've got a few more options in midfield that we can kind of mix and match to kind of fit against the opposition a bit better, I suppose. I don't know, because we had a really good strong 11 today, so it's hard to say, but I think we do need to get a bit better at when we're 1-0 up, kind of assess the situation a little bit more and think, well, do we need to really go gung-ho here? Maybe away games, not so much Anfield. I think we still probably do, but only because the crowd's there. And once we get one, that's when the impetus is really behind us, and you do expect a second pretty much straight away. And when it doesn't happen, I think there's a lot of maybe a downhearted feeling in the stadium in terms of we haven't got it yet, and there's that anxiety that we're going to drop points again or concede a goal again, like we have this season a couple of times. Said Chelsea drew twice with them, I think Spurs and Brentford, and you're just thinking, oh, is it going to happen again? And we're going to end up dropping points, especially City, when City won yesterday, and we need to keep pace with them. But I think it's something we do definitely need to get better at in terms of doing that. But I think Klopp will know that. Klopp will know exactly what we need to do, and I think it's no coincidence that keep a clean sheet again today. And Van Dijk, I think, was back to his imperious best. I thought Van Dijk, I think that's 2 games in a row where, I mean, we're talking about Van Dijk being at his best, but he's still the best in the world, even when he's not at his best. But when he is at his best, where he's just blocking stuff for fun, he's just literally not even jumping for headers, he's just spraying 40-yarders without even missing a step. And it's just stuff like that where once we get these players back up to full speed, which obviously Van Dijk out for a long time, it's surprising that he's at the level that he is so soon, I suppose. But it's good signs, and I think we're in a good position. I think if you look back maybe 4 or 5 games ago, and we're going, oh, the league maybe done and dusted. I think at this point where if we win our game and we're only 6 behind, we've got to go to the Etihad in April. So there's a lot of positive signs, but I think we need to get better at, like we said, controlling games by the time we get to that City game at the Etihad, I think.
Yeah, no, you're spot on. We've reached half time in our analysis, and usually when you're at the game, Conroy, at half time, there's always sort of entertainment at half time where people get birthday shouts and everything. So I thought, let's segue into the perfect timing because I got a absolutely lovely message from the son. The son's name I'll pronounce, right? Because it's harder. You'll get the easy one. The son's name is Gavin DeMello, and he said his father, who they live out in Canada, and I absolutely love watching our show, especially the Redfellas podcast. And he's a massive Liverpool fan. And it's his 65th birthday today. And he's an avid fan. And he said, could you give my father a shout out? It'll be a surprise. They'll be watching. And I said, I'll do it when I think it's sort of peak viewing and peak timing. And he said, oh, thank you so much. And then he spelled out the name, and everyone in the chat will know me and pronunciations don't go. It's usually Avi or Evan come to the rescue. But Gavin, if you and your family and your father, we wish him an absolute amazing day. Hopefully Liverpool have already made his day. And this is just probably the icing, a little bit of sugar on top. Conroy, pronounced the,
Yeah.
the
Give it to the Scottish guy, okay? Just criticising my accent 2 minutes ago. But no, happy birthday, happy 65th birthday to Ezekiel De Mello.
beautifully said.
Happy birthday, mate.
Absolutely. Happy birthday, Ezekiel De Mello. Have a fantastic. What will the time be out in Canada right now, Evan?
I
You're
think
the
it'd
closest.
probably be if they're on the West Coast, it'd be about 2:50 in the afternoon. So
2:50 in the
good.
afternoon. Amazing,
Very good.
beautiful. I bet the weather's amazing. You know, Mr. De Mello. Mr. De Mello. I'm gonna call him Mr. De Mello because you know that's the best way of doing it. People in the chat send him love. Mr. De Mello is an amazing Liverpool fan. It's his 65th birthday. Happy birthday from everyone at the Redfellas, man. So hope you have a great day, and hopefully the Liverpool, the team made your day as well, first and foremost. We reach halftime, Evan. We come out, and just like me and Mick was saying, we expected Klopp to fix it and sort of come out and get that early second goal. It didn't go quite to plan. I thought for that 15, 20 minutes, I thought we made life difficult for ourselves, especially Joe Matip and Trent. Please tell me if I'm wrong, because I've only watched it once. You guys had TV, and I don't know what the commentary was saying or what the different pundits were saying. Mm-hmm. I just thought Joe Gomez and Trent were trying to force moves when they didn't need to. I don't know what you thought for that opening 15 or 20 minutes, or was there just a natural feeling of Leicester City felt in the game and pushed up 10 yards and made life a bit more difficult for us? Whatever it was, give me your shout on that opening 20 minutes where I didn't feel comfortable.
Yeah, it's the game got away from us, but normally when you say the game gets away from you, it's because the other team's pouring on the pressure. That wasn't really the case. The game just became scrappy. But to be honest, I wasn't really thinking about what Matip and Trent were doing or weren't doing, because I think when you look at like possession loss stats for the players in the Premier League, the players that inevitably lead that category are the best on-ball players in the league. It's Trent, it's De Bruyne, it's Bernardo Silva. It's players like that, players who are expected to do the unexpected, the extravagant things. So when Matip has that in his locker as well. So when him and Trent are losing the ball, like maybe forcing it a bit too much or trying something that looked better in their head, but not so in practice, I can forgive them for that, because that's what we ask of them, and we're asking them to perform duties that few other players in their position in the league can even contemplate doing. So yeah, I wasn't so necessarily focused on them. The game did get scrappy, though, and credit to Klopp, because he had to get in Kavanagh's ear there for a second and let him know that, hey, these Leicester guys are going down over nothing, and they were killing the game. They were killing the pace of the game with all the fouls and and stuff like that. And Kavanagh, to his credit, I think heeded that advice, because
he had a good game. I thought he let it flow quite well, to be honest.
After Klopp had a few words with him.
Evan's right. Yeah. It was after.
Yeah, I don't know. There's still a few fouls in the first half. I think you want to see that sometimes with ref. I think genuinely the only one you're thinking about is the Lookman challenge, because Trent, I agree, it wasn't a free kick, but I thought overall he let the game flow.
He did quite well. He did, but again, I'm going to slightly disagree with Evan's take on that period, because Evan always comes with he wasn't worried, he was chilling, he was laid back. But Conway, I know you have a different perspective in terms of timing of when we play those passes, and sort of, again, it comes down to game management, where it's not a team thing. I found it an individual thing. So, for example, the game management today of Fabinho and Thiago and Roberts and Virgil was magnificent. But I found the individual game management of Trent and Matip slightly off. The one aspect of Trent, and we know...
I know what you're going to say, because I watched the watch. It's that first time pass, it does your head, and doesn't it sometimes?
What? Like, he does it... So he's...
The flick, sorry, not the pass.
Yeah, it's a flick. Whatever it is, it's a flick. So let me set the scene. When Trent gets the ball and he's facing he's sort of in their half, and he's facing his own goal, and Fabinho or Matip will play the ball into him, and he just got this tendency to chip it over first time, trying to, like a golf chip, and then with a back swerve into the attacker. Like, he does it, for me, way too much, because if you lose the ball in transition there, not only you, Trent, are halfway up past the halfway pitch, and it's not a percentage ball, and we're winning 1-0, you've seen that they're mostly concentrated on that side of you. Lookman was going past him sometimes at will. Even Daka was targeting Matip. He was staying away from Virgil. You fucking blame him. Yeah. I just found that patch of 15-20 minutes of game management to be, what's the word? Lazy, maybe? Him and Matip, not just Trent, Matip as well. And I think Klopp was seen shaking his head like, what are you guys doing, a couple of times?
I think, I agree. It's easy to hear that and be like, well, do you know what? The devil's advocate would say, well, Trent, devil's advocate, not advocate.
There you go. Straight away, leave Trent alone. He's young and going places. Like, I fucking bullied him. Like, I didn't bully him.
No, but he would say Trent is, the reason Trent's so great is he'll try stuff, But then I could say, well, Bruno Fernandes does it far too often. I think Trent's wonderful. I just think tonight there's a few times where he's doing that round the pass flick, which does work out, but sometimes, it just, there's certain parts with that game, I wouldn't say it looked like it was getting tricky, but it was getting a bit scrappy, and it's just, for 5 minutes, don't do that. But it's hard to criticise, because the guy does pull off like Hollywood passes that come off all the time. I just think he just had not off night, he just had that average night with him, but that can happen. But I do get what you're saying, because there's about 3 or 4 times, because of one of them bad decision making, they got in. And thankfully, nothing occurred from it tonight. But I do get what you're saying, because it kind of goes back to Mick's point about how our game management, we do have to look at that at parts of the season. Now, Mick, I know you just came on tonight, but we've had discussions about if it's either the high line or if it's our midfield for about 3 months in this channel. So we're not going to go into that tonight about it, but we've discussed that as well. And I feel like it does kind of refer to Mick's point that there's definitely if we want to keep in this title race, Klopp's going to have to look at that at certain points. Tonight, fine, but there is certain games where we just slightly better game management, I think.
Adams, who sends in a super chat, appreciate the support. As a United fan, it pains me to say, but Luis Diaz, comfy already. Doesn't look out of place, like a new signing. He will be a problem.
Yeah, and he'll get better. Evan's absolutely right. Sorry, Ev. He will get better. I think he was like, holding off, maybe the wrong word, but he wasn't going down the line when he could, maybe, if he gets a bit more confidence or just feels a bit more, not playing it safe. But I agree. I think you're right, Evan. I think he's not even 100%. I think he maybe was only at 70% tonight. I think he can do more.
Yeah. People are saying there's a fella called MB in the chat and he's trolling. I don't see any abuse or any racism or anything like that. If he's got shitty opinions, then we just got to ride with it, guys. People have shitty opinions. I'm not going to block someone for just having an opinion that's different. But if there's any abuse or personal hatred or any racism or sexism or anything like that, then let me know. And if the mods are in there, just block him if he does any of that. But with opinions,
no, I think it's just I think it's just some. I think it's. Okay. I don't think it's anything. I think it's just.
Well, keep an eye on it. If I miss it, Evan.
I think it's just. I think it's just some. No, I just think it's just some opinions that people would disagree with. And
that's fine. That's fine. I mean,
as far as I've seen, anyway.
If we put up with Avi's opinions in the past, you knew where I was going with this, yeah.
No. It's the last comment. Look at Takers Dave's comment. This is a Big Six comment. I'm going to bring it up, Grizz. Right, so you'll know what this means.
The guy is what?
I think it's got to be like a German word or something.
Waffling more than Matisse from Big Six, I think he's.
Oh, right. Okay. Look, difference of opinions are allowed. Just no abuse, and when you start getting sort of anything nasty. Mick, I didn't expect the changes that Klopp actually made at 60th minute, even before the 60th minute. He brings on Elliott and Mo for Curtis and Bobby. I thought Bobby was doing an okay job. Again, my biggest gripe with Bobby is he needs to. I mean, he actually had a couple of shots today. I want Bobby to shoot more because he's actually got a good fucking strike. He brings the main man on and the young prodigy on around the 60th minute. I expected Jones to come off. But I thought Diaz might be given 60 minutes, but he keeps on Diaz, and that's a testimony how fucking good Diaz was, and even Klopp appreciated that. That's when we regained control. And what does that say about this fucking kid of ours? That he comes on, right, and he's what, 17, did we say 18? 18? He comes on and he looks after the ball like prime Xavi. He looks after the ball like a prime Busquets, all rolled into one. And Salah comes on, and we know what we expect from Salah, but the maturity this guy is showing, how the F do we stay calm about this kid? How the F do we not hype him up and think, wow, because he's astonishing.
Yeah, I don't think we can do anything but hype him, to be honest. Just from, I think Conroy said it earlier about like we can't really. It's a small sample in terms of consistency because he hasn't actually played that much. But when he has played thus far, he has been really good. And I think like today when he came on, it's just. I think the biggest compliment you can pay him is people just give him the ball and say, "Go on, just take the ball, do what you want." Like Trent playing like 2-yard passes to him when he could just cut him out the equation and play a ball into Fabinho, or he could switch it to Robbo, or just little things like that where he goes, "Go on, you go on the ball, you get on the ball and just see what you can do." And I think that stems from the love that Klopp gives the young players. Where I think Tyler Morton done an interview recently where he said something like, if you do something wrong, it's not your fault, it's mine, because I've put you into the team and I've give you the platform to go and perform. So I think it's a similar thing with Harvey Elliott, who's younger than Tyler Morton, which is mad to think. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I think with the Bobby thing, I think he done well, and I was like you said, Grizzy had a few shots tonight, which I was happy about. Like he lost his marker, had a shot, and he kind of. The criticism in the past that you would give Bobby is that he doesn't do that often enough. But I think he just got a yellow card, hadn't he, like 5 minutes earlier, where he's like 2-footed someone on the edge of the box, and you're like, oh, fucking hell.
Yeah. Grizz was like, that's not a foul. That's not a foul. Watch the replay. That's a foul.
No, because I thought I did.
Right from the back of Dewsbury Hall.
Look, the whole purpose, right, of fucking watch-alongs is natural fan reaction.
No, I know.
So, my reaction was like, no, that's not a foul, ref. And then I said, okay, it's a foul.
But I just shout out to Grizz's favourite player, like Dewsbury Hall. I was listening to Grizz watching it. Like, honestly, we're not going to go on about him, but that guy's impressive every time we watch him. Like, very good.
We can touch upon him because I thought he was a standout on their team. How the fuck Brendan's not playing him? And good luck to Leicester City and Brendan if you're not thinking this guy is worthy of a place in your team week in, week out. The 2 games that we've seen him, Conroy, we've been overwhelmed in terms of, wow, who is this kid? But look, forget about their kids. Speak more on our kid, because our kids are. He's. So look, we talk about, and Mick makes a brilliant point in terms of senior players being able to give the ball to you in any part of the pitch and feel comfortable with it, because we've all played 5-a-side, 6-a-side football, right? Actually, Evan, I don't know if you've played it. All I've seen is golf clips of yours. I haven't seen any football clips, so I don't know. I'll let you answer that. But we've all played 5-a-side, 6-a-side, whatever a side it is, and we all know players that we only give the ball to them when we have to. We try not to give them balls. Like, all right, I love you. You're my mate. We can go for a drink afterwards, everything and all that. But just so shit, you're in the team because of me, whatever. I'm not going to give the ball to you, right?
Oh, for the 1-2, for the 1-2, like
the
1-2,
yeah, exactly, right. But this kid is the opposite, right? When Mohamed Salah, right, is knocking the ball at you, knowing that you can control the ball, relax the play, while Mohamed Salah makes a run or Jota makes a run. That's saying something, Mick. I'll stick with you. That's saying something for the maturity of a kid, 18. And that's what we didn't see in pre-season, during the off-season, where we were crying out to a man, all of us, on every platform, Twitter, Instagram, Genie Ronaldo replacement. Fucking Genie Ronaldo replacement. And this was the magic that Klopp, Pep, and all the other geniuses were watching day in, day out and thinking, guys, wait until we get this kid on the pitch.
Yeah, and I think it's quite telling. Like, I think Klopp did an interview. Like, I don't know if it might have been last year, but like he signs the right amount of players, but he likes to leave like a 5% gap for those players who are in the youth system, or he wants to sign on a deal from the team, and they can come in as a youth for us to kind of just give them that opportunity, I suppose. And I think other teams, obviously Man City, just buy a load of players and just go, well, we can just buy as many as we want. But it makes sense to, like we touched on Curtis Jones earlier, and I think Evan summed it up perfectly. Like, if it doesn't work out, we can make money on it. Obviously, as a fellow Scouser, I want it to work out for him because he knows what it means to wear the shirt. He's grew up in the city and whatever else. So I hope it does work out for him. But like Harvey Elliott, a boyhood Liverpool fan, another one who's, you can just see, like I said, Grizz, the quality on the ball, and yeah, just that turn. He knows who's around him. He knows when he's getting pressed. He knows when he isn't. He knows when he's got space. He knows the right pass. He's got a bit of speed to him. I think his acceleration's underrated in terms of getting away from a man. When he's knocked it round him, you can get by a man quite easily. I think 18. I think a similar way to maybe Curtis Jones, and I think we touched on Diaz as well, in terms of that bulking up and maybe being a little bit stronger when you come up against the better players in the league, in terms of they're going to be a little bit stronger. You need to have that core strength in terms of maybe turning someone inside out. And I think Harvey Elliott's got that, but like, he's 18, like he's got so much progression to do. He's still got to grow a little bit more. He's not even a fully grown man yet. And the fact
He's not scary, man. It's fucking scary. I'm just everything crossed. Prayers, positive thoughts, everything. This guy, we know the emotion that Klopp sort of went through, and all of us went through when we saw him get injured, and we were just praying that it's nothing serious that could affect him in future. Because ankle injuries can be the mother of all fucking annoying injuries. But everything looks so good and rosy, and I don't want him. And I think we guys spoke about it the other day. We don't want him rushed back. We've got such a fucking strong squad that we don't want him rushed back. But saying that, Conroy, is making a case to say you can't leave me out.
Nah, but it's a hard one, though, isn't it?
It
Because
is.
Like, for years, people criticise like Phil Foden and Guardiola, saying need to play him all the time, and now Phil Foden.
Good example.
Guardiola looks like that's why he's the manager, and it looks amazing shout now. But people forget he was like, Silva's getting older, play him. So listen, I'm not saying you maybe play him as scarcely as Guardiola played Foden, because obviously we've not got the same squad. But I do think there's something to be said, and Mick mentioned that it is still a small sample size. So I think using him, like, what I mean is, like, not playing him 90 minutes every game, I still think is quite wise, to be honest. A lot of the chat probably disagree with me, but I do think you have to just keep that in mind, because like the kid is special, don't get me wrong. I keep saying it. I don't think it might be like come across the wrong way, but he's not really like he is a youth product, but he's a signing. Like, he was bought as a signing. They weren't buying him thinking, oh, we can flog him for another 30 million or 20 million. Like, they were thinking he's going to be special.
He's the future. Yeah, he's the future. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And like, similar, Cade Gordon might not work out the same, but that's definitely thinking behind that as well. I think anyway. I think it's that type of signing. So yes, I'd still say you need to play him at times, of course, but I do think there is examples of just, at times, not all the time, not 90 minutes every week. You guys might disagree, but I just think there's a few examples where that's worked out.
No, I tend to agree with you overall with that. Ivan, as soon as Mo and Elliott come on, we seem to click into gear, and then there's a period of sort of 15 minutes where Schmeichel makes 3 or 4 brilliant saves. I want to start with the one where Mo gets the ball. There's a bit of interplay, and then Mo, fresh from Africa, fresh from disappointment, gets the ball, and there's about 3 or 4 players around him. And one of them is Ndidi, who's one of the strongest, most fiercest tacklers around. And Mo does what he's been doing, and Mo does what kids say he can't do. You know, the football Twitter kids that say, oh, he hasn't got the dribbling ability. You fucking idiots. Did you see that? How many times does Mo Salah do shit that's thrown at him and just hurdles everything that's thrown at him and proves he can do near enough everything on the pitch. Because if he scored that goal, that would have been 3. What's the award for goal of the season?
Puskás.
Puskás. That would have been 3 possible Puskás awards right there after the City and the Watford game. You know the move I'm talking about, right?
Oh yeah, the one where he just sort of pulls it out.
It's like he's not been away, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the thing is, once he gets to that insane angle, you back him to score. And and also I have to say, Schmeichel, annoying prick. He's shit against everybody except us.
I disagree.
So,
he's a good goalkeeper. He's a good goalkeeper.
I think he's rubbish. But we'll talk about that another time.
He made I think 10 saves for Denmark.
I don't care about international football. But yeah,
Chelsea semi-final, right?
Listen,
Mason Mount is a very good goalkeeper.
I don't care, Conrad. I don't care about all your facts and logic right now. I'm trying to be salty. Let me be salty about something. All right, so Schmeichel annoys the shit out of me. Yeah, let us have a party. That was annoying. Like, we're trying to maul you guys. So we're trying to get some goals. He's just being annoying. But yeah, I cannot believe he got himself out of that corner. The only thing missing was a goal. But yeah, I just don't get why people say Salah can't dribble, because if he couldn't dribble, then why is he triple teamed every single time he plays football? You don't triple team someone who can't dribble. You know what I mean? So yeah, is the only thing missing was the finish. I didn't look to see if he could have passed to somebody.
Not really. There's a man there. I think
was I being harsh?
Walking. No, I think the Leicester player kind of blocked the angle, because I would say it straight away if it was. So I don't think that was the case, to be honest. I think he should pass it later. I think he should pass later, but he's never going to pass later.
I tell you what made me think he could have passed it there. His reaction himself. So
yeah.
When the ball went out of play, he kind of just beckoned to the player like, "I'm sorry, I could have." But it's Mo Salah.
There was a few bodies. I don't think it was a really obvious one, Grizz, to be honest. That's just my opinion.
The other major incident, not major, an incident, Mick, is when he's clean through, he intercepts a pass. He's clean through. Now, I've got a major gripe with this. I don't know if you guys picked up on it, but I went mad on the watch along. Like, I don't know why that wasn't given as a penalty. Mick, my argument or my case for the prosecution is, so anywhere else on the pitch, when a defender gets there first and the attacker just clips him straight after, it's always, without fail, given as a free kick and said as a foul. It's not play on. So why is that not the case in the penalty area? So what I'm saying to you is, Conroy thinks the referee was brilliant.
No, I just thought it was a good game. I just think we never credit refs on a good game.
I think there was a couple of decisions that make me think he was a prick.
All right, so 98% out of decisions. So yeah, that's
but that was a bad decision. Or was
that would be VAR as well, because no ref's given that penalty.
Well, let's see what the chat says. Is Conroy right, or is Evan right, or am I right, or what's Mick's opinion? Let's get Mick's opinion first.
Is the question? Was it a penalty? Is that what you're asking?
Mick, I don't know. Did I ask a question at the end of it? I fucking forgot myself.
No, but Chris, that didn't see on BT. That didn't even come up. I'm saying that didn't go back to that. They looked at it and said the VR checked it.
Exactly. But not everyone's like a football analyst like me.
No, I know.
To be fair, I think this was a gray area before VAR. Like, if a player gets a good attempt at a shot off and then it's taken out, is it a foul? Because sometimes you've seen it given as, oh, he got his shot off, that's not a foul.
And but that's not. See, is that the law?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying what it's in the past. You've seen people agree saying he got his shot off. Who cares if there's contact afterwards? But then in the past, you've also seen them given when a player gets taken out. So I don't know what
Rashford one last season, I think, was that against Wolves.
Yeah, like, so it's such a gray area, and I've never seen anyone pull out the rule book about it. Like, because he obviously takes him out. That's not up for debate.
Well, considering I asked Mick this question, you two fuckers have gone in.
On you go, Mick. Sorry,
sorry, Mick.
Can we have your say, please? Like, welcome the guest. Why don't you fucking hell speak over him?
No, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. What's your view? Because the chat's is unanimous. And obviously, I didn't expect it to be this unanimous. It's a Liverpool chat. You're on mute, Keith. I'll call you Keith for today.
Of course it's going to be unanimous. It's a Liverpool channel. Of course they're going to
yeah, but you're a Liverpool fan. You and Evan have...
No, but like... Chris, I think sometimes you need to be honest. Like, we've not seen them given very often. Come on, like...
Mick, The floor is yours.
I'm going with the chat. I'm gonna be a bore and just say it was definitely a pen. But I think like Conway said, I don't think it showed the replay properly on BT Sport. I think it kind of just showed it and then it moved on, and it was like, well, what the fuck? That looked like a. And I kind of with recently with the Jota one where Jota got a penalty, and I can't remember what game it was where the keeper came out. What game was it? Was it Wolves? It wasn't Wolves, was it?
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace, that was the one. That one, I thought that probably isn't a pen, but then the more you read about it on Twitter, you're like, actually, fuck it, it is a pen, because we haven't been given one against Spurs where Jota got fucking thrown into next week, didn't get a penalty. But then I kind of agree with Evan, like they're not really. There's so like VAR should have reduced these grey areas, but all it's done is made them more prevalent because we don't know what the rules are. So if you're in the middle, if you're taking a free kick, you pass it 5 yards, then that player gets tackled, but the ball goes to your man, but then it comes to nothing. But then the referee goes back and goes, oh, well, there's no advantage. So you go back to that free kick. So surely if they're through on goal and he doesn't score, but it's also a foul, it should be a penalty.
How about what Sam says?
Yeah, but it's not really a VR thing, though, is it? This is like a historic football thing. Like, it's never been given as a pen, really. And that's maybe they've got to change, as Evan says, emphasise it. But I feel like that's not VAR's fault, is it? Like, it's hard to have a go at refs tonight because it's a Liverpool game for them to suddenly change the precedent that's been happening for, like, I don't know if that's a compliment, but I'll take it. I love Rain Man. Dustin Hoffman, Academy, won an Oscar for Rain Man, so I'll take that. Cheers, mate. But genuinely, I feel like that is an issue, and I think you're right. But I feel like that's like a laws thing they have to change. It's not. I don't think you can ever go at Stockley Park tonight because if they've not given that in the past, and see about the rebound thing, see if the keeper saves it and then Salah's going to the rebound and then gets fouled. That's what I'd say to that. But they'll look at that as he gets his strike away, so therefore that's the advantage being taken. But I agree, that's not maybe how you should look at it. Maybe it should be a pen. Like, I get what you're saying, Grizz. I just think that's a problem. That, you know, it's not just tonight. That in general, that's an issue.
I think the realization is we don't know the actual law with regards to that type of foul.
It's just so weird.
Yeah. No, but you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah. Like,
it feels a bit unfair, though, doesn't it? If it gets the shot away and the defender's going to do a last-minute block, right, and his follow-through takes him, they might
it's not the follow-through. See, I agree with you if it's a follow-through, but I disagree with you if it's a late challenge. That's a late challenge. The attacker's got there first. You've swiped him. It's not your momentum. It's not a follow-through per se. You've taken him out.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I think so. See if you're diving to block, and then as you say, he shoots. You know, Grizz, I think you're absolutely right. I do agree.
I don't know if I'm right.
But I just think they like to keep it. They like to be left as a grey area because it's a bit like, you know, it's a 50-50, and the striker gets there and the shot, so it's a chance. But then it just feels like in the past they've not brought it back because, you know, you got the strike away. But I do agree that if he's, as I say, honestly, me and Mick are agreeing, like, BT never replayed this chance. Like, genuinely, I've not seen a replay of this. I just remember them saying the VR has been checked and it's done. So I didn't actually think about it again, to be honest.
But look, the thing is, like, if that happened, that whole scenario again, but then Salah gets a broken ankle, God forbid, would they then give a penalty because they've assessed the damage after the incident and they've assessed that it was foul play? Would it then be a penalty?
Because you could break your leg walking down the line. You know,
of course.
You can't take that into it. But I get what you're saying. Impact. Sometimes it's like they'll review it more. I get that, but as I say, I wish we'd got more of a replay, to be honest, Chris. Because generally, whatever you were watching,
there was no replay.
I didn't need a replay. It failed my eye test.
Should he score though, Grizz? Should he score before the challenge comes?
Yes.
Yes. If Mohamed Salah is clean through, yes. But look, let's not dwell on the miss. Let's not dwell on the thing.
I think it's a really good save, to be honest.
Evan, you get the bit where he curls it nearly into the top corner and chops off the perfect night, possibly, if that went in, right? It hits the crossbar.
Yeah, that was such a cool piece of interplay because
Again,
because it was one of those things where we got it to the edge of the box. We were trying to work the angle, and then you think it's gone, but the close control of Thiago and Elliott create another opportunity. Just boom, 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 right to Mo, just like that. Quick feet, quick passing. And it was it had so much dip and so much swerve on it that I've never gone more quickly from that's not going into holy shit,
suddenly,
that might go in.
That's got a chance.
Yeah, you have the angle. I'm like, it's high and wide. Wait, shit, it isn't. You know what I mean? It's one of those.
That's a goal kick. You're like, that's a goal kick. And then
I'm already like sighing, but then I'm like, oh yeah. So it just seemed to hang in the air forever. He's desperately unlucky. And again, beating more allegations that he, tapping merchant, poacher, whatever you want to call him.
Just people are going to move the goalpost, Evan.
Exactly. Yeah. No, listen, I've totally made peace with it. I'm not at all troubled by it. But this guy, Salah can score any type of goal consistently. He's very expansive and, impressive repertoire of strings to his bow, right, guys? Strings to his bow. Yep, strings to his bow.
This is why I was going to butt in because Mick said use the strings to his bow.
Mick already did it.
Mick already done it, and he got it right.
I had liked Mick up until this point. But then he's just gone, and then whatever.
I thought you were taking the piss, to be honest, Evan. I thought you were making a point saying
genuinely, we don't get phrases right on this channel.
No, it's them wrong. We spent 5 minutes a few weeks ago trying to figure out if we were using that turn of phrase correctly. Arrows to the bow, yeah.
What did Avi say? Avi
said arrows to the bow.
No, he meant to say hit the nail in the head.
I can't remember. It's a weekly
hammer and head in the hammer or something. He said it was brilliant.
Oh my god!
Going hammer and nail.
But when Mick said it right, I thought, we're on. We've got the perfect guest today. He won't let us fuck up. Let him just say all the right statements, man. But Mick desperately needed the second goal. Coming up to 15 minutes to go, I thought, okay, we deserve it now. We just put an end to all this nervousness, as we've said. All it takes is one corner, one set piece, anything, one unforced error. Thankfully, we get that second goal, and it's that man again. Talk us through the second goal.
Yeah, I think like we've said, like we didn't want it to be, what was it? Like it was like towards the end, wasn't it? 85th minute, was it 86 minutes, something like that. So I would have really enjoyed it to be 50 minutes, 55, because then we could maybe have settled a little bit more. We might have got a few more goals, and obviously I think, like you said, before the 60-minute mark it was a bit nervy, but yeah, get that goal, seal it off. Jota getting another goal. I think that's his 12th in the Premier League. I think Salah's on 16. So
Mo's in trouble, guys. Mo's in trouble. That's why he came. That's the real reason why he came back.
Yeah. He's like to Klopp. He's like, get me on.
He's like Palace, Leicester, Burnley. Fuck.
Yeah.
I think the thing Salah's got going for him is if Jota's playing in the next game, it'll probably give him a bit more space, so he'll probably capitalise on that as well.
Yeah. I think Salah was probably saying to Klopp, get me on, but also take Diogo off, just so he doesn't score more as well.
Yeah, but leave Bobby on. Bobby's fine. Get Jota off.
But guys, I've sort of had a slight go at Matip because I thought Matip was not as good as he usually is in terms of in defensive situations. But that assist, and I mean this, not many centre backs have got that ability, right, Mick? And I mean that. That's not an overstatement. That's not a hype statement. Not many centre-backs have got the ability this guy has.
No, I totally agree. I think the calmness to... I mean, we've seen Joel Matip just on those mazy runs all season where you're like, go on, Joel, just smack a top corner or...
We're waiting.
He's got that touch, hasn't he? Like you said, the touch where in those key areas where you need it, he is like a advanced midfielder when he just gets to that point where he's like, yeah, right, I'm on the edge of the box, I'm going to do a step over, you're bye-bye, pass it in field.
It's brilliant.
It's so good to see, and I think that kind of, he's got that in him to do that, and I think, yeah, a little ball inside for Diogo, and it was basically begging to get smacked bottom corner, and that's what he did. But yeah, I agree, I don't think it was Matip's best game in terms of defensively, but there's been games this season where he's been our best attacker,
Yeah.
which says a lot in terms of coming forward with the ball, and he's got that in him, and I think he's top quality. I'm just absolutely made up he stayed fit for as long as he has, in terms of touch with like injuries like previous seasons, and Gomez has had to come in, and then Gomez gets injured and Matip comes in, and I think we've got that strength and depth there now where even if we do get an injury to someone, we've got a lot of quality there. But yeah, like Matip was a DM exactly, and you can see that perfectly, can't you? A bit like Kelleher, you can tell Kelleher was a centre midfielder. I think it's in that kind of mold where he's got the dribbling skills, though. It's still, every time it surprises me, just because he's 6'5" and he shouldn't really be able to run at that speed and do step overs and take people on in that kind of messy like way, but he does it so well.
Unique. That wraps up the game. 2-0. Conroy, I don't even know where to start with. Well, I guess, like in terms of performances that stood out, right? I guess there's a fair few to go through. Do you want to give an honourable mention for someone that we may not have mentioned?
I think he's mentioned already. I would say just another shout that Mick mentioned. I actually thought Bobby played really quite well today, to be honest. I think he made me enjoy our squad depth. I thought his interplay was really good. If anything, I'll be honest, see when he got taken off, I was a bit like, I thought you could have kept him on, because I thought he was quite good with the ball today. His link up, he dropped in.
But again, I think he's going to start Sunday, you see, because of the way those centre-backs love a physical confrontation. And Bobby drops deep and confuses centre-backs that play like lumberjacks, like the Burnley ones will. So that's why I think he will start Sunday as well.
No, sorry. Good point. No. I just thought today the best thing I can say about Bobby, and like we know he's not like clinical. We know that, but as a footballer, he is brilliant. And I think today it just made me love our depth in our attacking sense, because you're like, Bobby's played today with Jota and Diaz, and you're like, do you know what? I'd be quite happy these games starting this front three. You've got the other options there as well. So shout out to Bobby. I thought he was actually quite good today. I thought he was unlucky when he done the 1-2. I think with Diaz or Jota on left foot, it's right at the goalkeeper, but I think he had a few good shots, played quite well. I was impressed by him today. Anyone else, as I mentioned, he's really my honourable mention. Obviously, you've got Salah, does well when he comes on. But do you want me to say my man of the match as well, Grizz, or just the honourable mentions?
Let me think. I'll go and give you man of the match.
Yeah, with Diaz link-up play was really good as well. I thought he settled right into the team, and as you said, it looked like it was. It could have looked like he's been there for years. I think the commentary said that. But my man of the match, it might be boring, but it can't be anyone else. It's got to be Jota again. Game winner, match winner, steps up when we need him, keeps us in the title race with those 2 goals tonight. Just brilliant. I'm actually losing words. I understand sometimes he's not always amazing, but I've got to be honest, I think he's getting more consistent with his performances as well. His link-up's getting better. We always say, Mick, in this channel, but like a passable Firmino. But for me, my favourite attribute about Jota sometimes, and maybe never saw as much today, apart from his goal scoring, is how he tries to like the see if it comes to him and he's like maybe on the right to get us away in the left, like he comes inside or he passes inside to the right, or it's just a little one-touch pass, and he always seems to be aware that there's so much space on either flank if he gets it quick. And some players I think we have do not spread it as fast as they can, but he seems to always know. It might be more when he's on the right to the left. He always seems to know. I'm a big fan of him doing that, to playing it early and kind of starting attacks quick. But for me, Jota, honestly, how many times have we spoke about Jota in the last month, Grizz? Just honestly, the man right now is... There's a race for this golden boot, and I'm telling you right now, and it seems to be what Klopp and this team can do with Jota. I don't even think it's close to his ceiling yet. I think he's going to get even better.
Wow. Evan, honourable mention and your man of the match.
I think honourable mention has to go to Kasper Schmeichel, because he's annoys the shit out of me, but he's occasionally a very good goalkeeper.
Premier League winner.
Yeah, Premier League winner, bit of a prick as well.
I like him because when he played for Denmark,
Conroy, I'm baiting you.
He went, no, this reason I have to add this in. He went, when I'm playing for Denmark, and he went, they said, is it coming home? And he went, has it ever been home? but that's why I like Kasper
Oh,
Schmeichel.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
No, I don't
Yes.
actually. I do actually like Kasper Schmeichel. I just think at that time, I think he's quite a funny guy as well. I think he's a bit down to earth. He understands this, what it is. So that's why I like Schmeichel as well.
Yeah. I like him for that as well. So honorable mention to him because the scoreline could have been a bit of a mauling,
It
as
could
we all
have.
know.
I think we
Could
were
have
nervous.
easily
I think I
been.
was nervous for no reason. The way you actually put it, it could have been 4-5 very, very easily.
Yeah, but the man of the match has to go to Jota because he's the guy who ultimately finds a way through in a game where you could argue that we were maybe misfiring in front of goal. And Grizz, you were saying it so much during the watch along. Jota does not turn off. He is a fucking warrior. He won the ball back so many times. He's the antithesis of Mesut Ozil. He is the chaser of lost causes. He is just, harassing, recovering, moving. The guy just, if he gets tired, he doesn't show it. It reminds me of a Mourinho quote that was actually about Robertson. It's from a few years ago where Mourinho's like, I get tired just watching him. And that's how I feel about Diogo Jota these days because the engine is just insane. Forget the goals for a second. Forget how many times he's bailed us out this season.
Guys,
he's a warrior.
Guys, the scary thing is, and I'm getting goosebumps. I'm not joking. I would take off my top and come right up to the camera and show you.
Do it.
Right?
Never mind.
Never
mind.
No, I'm serious. I'm getting goosebumps because I tell you what, all of our forwards are that. All of our forwards are that. How you've described Jota, Bobby, we know is like that. Mane, we know is like that. Salah's fucking intense and brilliant at the same time as well. And we saw today, Luis Diaz doesn't stop. Like, how many times did he just not give up on that? Who I thought had a decent game as well. He's a good player. James Justin.
James Justin was good, yeah.
He's a good player. But Luis Diaz didn't give him a second free. That's why I always say we're one of the nastiest teams to play against for an opposition. Because not only we're dangerous on the ball, off the ball, we're a menace to fucking footballing society. And I'm amazed that none of you have mentioned one player that I wanted to mention. Mick's got the last chance. See if he comes up with either an honourable mention for him or man of the match. Otherwise, I'm going to be fucking fuming and doubt the footballing intelligence of some of you. But go on, Mick. Let's see if you fail me or pass.
Honourable mention, Andy Robbo. Is that it?
No, it's not that one, mate. Because he doesn't mention Robbo because I say it all the time.
Yeah.
But Robbo is a stalwart. But go on,
I know what you're going to say, Grizz. It's fine.
Give your honourable mention and your man of the match, Mick. And of course, it can be the same, of course. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think Robbo honourable mention. I just think, like I said earlier, like
we'll get on, Mick. We'll get on, Mick.
Had a bit of a different form, didn't he? But
he's come back. He's come back like an animal.
He is back, and he has been back for quite a few games now. But it's just, I think there was a moment in the second half actually where Trent actually tries to bomb on and close like the centre backs down or the left centre back, and he looked absolutely fucking knackered after he made the run. But Robbo does that all the time. Like, he does it all the time, and he's always back in position. And you never, like, when the camera, if you're watching at home and the camera pans back, he's always back in position. He's just, it's that machine, that energy in the engine he's got is just, I can't believe how good he is, to be fair. Like, when we signed him and the levels that he's reached is just, I don't think any of us ever imagined he would have reached the levels he has been. So the fact that he's a Liverpool player and he's won that quite a bit in the last couple of years and hopefully win a bit this year as well is, I think he's back to his best. And I think Van Dijk as well, alongside him, left centre half, was another one where
we normalise it, don't we, Mick? We normalise it.
Easy.
That's an issue. Eh? We normalise it with Van Dijk how good he is. We actually normalise it.
It's like when we had Gerrard, and Gerrard was just pulling rabbits from a hat every week, and we were like, yeah, that's what he does. And it's like, well, let's just have some context here. Yeah, have some context. What he's actually producing week in, week out, making really good, pacey, strong strikers look like they're running in treacle, and it's like he does it every week, and you've just got to go, wow, he's just an absolute colossus. I think man of the match, I'm going to go boring as well. I'm going to obviously go Diogo Jota because, like Evan and Conroy has said, he's just even like Evan said, forget the goals and forget everything else in terms of maybe assist and whatever else in terms of like picking the ball up and finding those spaces and knowing. I think like Harvey Elliott in a way, knowing which way to turn and having that low centre of gravity, knowing which way to run, those driving runs when he plays on the left, especially towards the last half of the game. Those surging runs from the left where he cuts in and he runs in field. I don't think anyone can stop him. He's that fast. He's that strong. And in the box, I think that there's times. I think the Cardiff game where he misses, he makes a great little turn in the box, Torres-esque against Real Madrid, and then he misses. And I think there was one against Wolves where he misses a fucking absolute such an easy goal.
I think Palace as well, mate. He misses an open goal. He's missed a few this season, but who cares, man? Because
he goes for power quite a lot, doesn't he? But I think you've seen tonight where who cares? He's just got that killer instinct in front of goal, and I think so, I don't know. It was on Twitter. Someone put like he's like the perfect mashup of all our favourite forwards over the years. Like I think he's got a bit of Suarez, he's got a bit of Torres. He's got a bit of Fowler. He's got a bit of Owen. He's got a little bit of everything. He's got a bit of grit and a bit of being a bit of a dickhead, but he's our dickhead, so that's why we love him. And I think it's all that rolled into one. And I think that the goals and the assist, the fact that he's so good in the air, the fact that he runs in front of the Leicester fans when he scores that penalty in the cup and celebrates in front of them. It's just all those little things where you're like, this.
He's clutch as well, isn't he? He's clutch. You step up. He's clutch.
That's another component of the great strikers that we've had. You know, some of them are clutch, some of them are strong, some of them are tenacious. And Mick, we've been having these debates and chats, and none of us can pinpoint who he reminds us of. And some give a combination of two players, but I think whoever tweeted that's probably brilliant.
I think it was Craig Hannan from the Anfield Rap, to be fair, now that I'm thinking. He didn't mention like the players, but he said the perfect mashup of all our favourite forwards. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, actually, there's a little bit from each one which you can kind of relate. And I think obviously the Fowler no and shout, because the way he strikes a ball, Fowler maybe wasn't some of the goals that you see in Fowler score weren't the cleanest strikes, but he knew how to hit the bottom corner every time. I think Diogo's got that pace in behind. I think Evan touched on it, like the pace in behind. He's the ball in behind, he's going to get there because he's got the strength, he's got the pace. Suarez, he's got the grit. Torres, he's got that little jink where he can just send someone for an echo and run past them. He's got a bit of everything. And the fact that he's only 25 is the most scary thing, because I think, like you said, Grizz, there's more levels to come, and that's the most exciting part for us.
He's a sponge as well, guys. Do you not think like he seems to him to do a passable version of Firmino, right? And already I think is impressive in itself. Correct. I just think his football intelligence is his best strength. I think he takes on information and just evolves with it.
I can't argue with. Sorry, Evan.
I was just gonna say we've spent so long, like you said, trying to think. Oh, is he a Suarez regen? Is he a Fowler regen? It's like no, Mick's right. He is a little bit of everything we love about a goal scorer, and he's also everything we love about a Klopp forward. So we really cannot ask for much more from Diogo Jota in any category.
Look, and I'm not doing this to be different, because I genuinely believe it. We've spoken about Jota, and I agree with everything that you guys have said, and you know my opinion on Jota as well. I mean, I labeled him the Punisher in my watch-along. I don't know why, but where that inspiration came from. I haven't even seen the actual Punisher, the movie and whatnot. I don't even know. I haven't even read the comic or anything. I don't even know what he does and how he does it, but just I kind of called him the Punisher. But my honorable mention goes to Thiago Alcantara. And that's now 17 games that him and Fabinho have played, and 16 wins and a draw. And that's pretty insane levels, people. That is fucking pretty insane levels. I thought Thiago Alcantara was the difference between us dropping points against Brighton, against Brentford, against all the other teams where he wasn't playing and we had a lead and we didn't know how to manage the game. and I thought he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And the one thing that we don't associate, or guys that have watched him forever and ever do, but guys that have just seen highlight reels don't associate with him, is the intelligence of his pressing. Shout out to Avi, who calls it intellectual pressing. The guy won the ball back so many times against faster and stronger and younger opponents by being 2, 3 seconds ahead of them in his brain. He was brilliant. He was so many times, you know the original Gegen pressing term. Thiago gave you a perfect example of Gegen pressing. So when someone says, sitting in a pub and says, "Oh, what's all this Gegen pressing then? What's he all about?" Show them Thiago's performance today, and they will have an absolute clear, crystal understanding of what Gegen pressing is. That's my honourable shout. But someone said it, and I swear to God, I didn't put a super chat into channel just to say it, but where's it gone now? Don't let me down here. You guys are flops as well. No help.
No,
here.
I've starred them, Chris.
I mean, Alisson Becker, shout out to Alisson Becker, because people will know that's the original Alisson Becker. That's the real Alisson Becker in our chat. He says, Fabinho, man of the match. No debate. There is a debate. Let's not get too carried away, brother. Wins the ball for both our goals and all-over performance. I'm actually disappointed that not one of you gave an honourable shout to Fabinho, because we spoke about Thiago, we spoke about Elliott, Diaz. Jota's inevitable. Right? Jota's inevitable. Fabinho was magnificent today. He honestly was, guys. Watch the highlights again, and you may change your mind, or watch the game again, like I will. The amount of times that he stopped them, and not only stopped them, ticking them over, and his drive, and a couple of times in the first half, I don't know if you remember, he actually drove forward with the ball. So normally he doesn't vacate that sort of center circle area. I thought it was scary how brilliant he was. Again, another guy that we sometimes criticize for not getting into the swing of things when he comes back from a little layoff. It always seems like he needs about 3 or 4 games. So maybe the breakdown brilliant, because he wasn't used against Cardiff, was he? And he's 100% going to be needed against Burnley away and Inter Milan. And when he's on the pitch alongside Thiago, we just look comfortable. Our game management is as good as anything in Europe, and the record speaks for itself. So just for me, Fabinho, my man of the match. Bashar with a super chat. He says, unfortunately, I said that we can knock you out, but since Barella... Oh, sorry, Bashar's an Inter Milan fan, I forgot. But since Barella is out for both games and the arrival of Luiz and the way you guys press it scary, you will smash my Inter, but I'm still hopeful. Appreciate the super chat, and I hope...
Yeah, I think Grizz was going to say, I hope we smash Inter. Grizz will be... He's just back. Here he comes.
Oh, I'm here.
So basically, that was Grizz doing an impression of the Dyson, which is Fabinho, and they just sweeped Grizz away. So that was Grizz's impression of Fabinho. So
yeah, look, Fabinho, I don't know if you want to add anything to that or whatever, or subtract anything from that, but I thought Fabinho. But you're right. There is the way we've discussed 3 or 4 players shows you, 3-4 could have easily been given man of the match. But yeah, look, Bashar with the super chat very quickly mentions Inter Milan. I don't want to look forward to Inter Milan right now, but on to Burnley. Evan, I'm expecting a couple of changes, maybe a few changes, just to freshen things up, because we can, because the quality won't dip. And onwards and upwards we go, right?
Yeah, obviously anybody who was on the bench today probably has a chance at starting against Burnley should they impress in training. Sadio Mane is probably back in the conversation on the bench at the very least. So yeah, we could be looking at a dramatically different team, considering the Champions League is right after that, or knowing Klopp, we might see the exact same team and the exact same players, because such a big advocate for rhythm and gelling and chemistry and all whatever word you want to use. He's a big advocate for all those things. So I personally think we'll see the likes of a Keita or a Chamberlain. We could see Minamino. I mean,
Mo starts, right?
I would assume so, just because, again, rhythm before the Champions League, rhythm back in our setup. Our setup is slightly different than Egypt's setup, so hopefully he hasn't forgotten too much about how we play football.
Yeah.
But it could be, it could be dramatically different, or it could be subtly different, or it might not be different at all. I've seen the full range of those things from Klopp this season, to be fair.
Mick, you pretty much have the same opinion. A couple of changes and hopefully too strong for Burnley.
Yeah, I think Salah's definitely in. Mane maybe. I think Klopp made a joke like Sadio's still in bed or something before the game today, which I thought was hilarious. But you imagine he'll be back probably on the bench the same way Salah was on the bench tonight. Naby Keita and Ox didn't even get on the pitch today, so you'd imagine at least one of them, maybe both will start. Naby on the left, Ox on the right, Fabinho in the centre.
Well. It's fucking embarrassment of riches right now, people, man. Embrace this shit. Cherish this shit. This is mental. Look at the players mix just casually just talking about. This is insane levels of squad fucking depth. I'm so excited. Conroy, Burnley's not the most, we always talk about Burnley's a tough way, but we've got a fucking good record there, right?
Yeah, I think the games are never smooth sailing. I think that's the big thing, Grizz. But apart from last year when we had big Nat Phillips, who just, if we had Nat, I would start Nat 100%. I don't care. I think Nat Phillips loves those games against Burnley. But I think, as you said, I'd say maybe Firmino's a really good shout, Grizz, and maybe Naby to come in the midfield. I think especially against Ben Mee and Tarkowski, I could see why Firmino would get the nod. Konate, yeah, possibly as well. See, the thing with Matip and Konate, it's like, I understand you might think Konate goes better, but it's kind of like it's 50-50 now. Like, you're not disappointed if Matip plays or Konate starts you. I think you're happy either way. But can I just ask everyone a quick one, right? Because I saw his comment on Twitter earlier, and I was thinking about this. See, James Justin. Now, we talk about like Trent and our cover for Trent. And I feel like, well, it's maybe hard to get someone who does that. But see, like a James Justin as a utility player for us to have. Am I the only one who thinks that would be a very savvy purchase? Because he can play right back, he can play left back. He can probably train him to play centre back as well with his athleticism, similar to Gomez. I just wanted to get your guys' opinion on that, if you felt like that would be an option in the summer, and if you think that would be a smart buy.
I'll just go very quickly and get out of the way. Massive fan of James Justin. Massive fan.
I like James Justin, but unfortunately he doesn't fit our ideal fullback signing right now of someone who would be content to play second fiddle to a player in front of them who's probably the best in that position in the world. Obviously, there are a lot of players who are as good as Kostas Tsimikas and who would probably cost the same as Kostas Tsimikas, same age profile as Kostas Tsimikas. But again, what makes him so rare is that he's willing to come in and fight the likes of Andrew Robertson, Liverpool's perhaps greatest ever fullback, for a spot. Like, that is the rare part about Kostas Tsimikas. So that's what makes cover for Trent. It's almost easier in terms of like squad harmony to say Gomez, Milner there in a pinch when we need them to. Obviously, I don't like the idea of that. I don't think anybody likes the idea of that. But you can see why Liverpool are kind of backed into a corner when it comes to doing that sort of thing. Klopp does not want to have James Justin knocking on his door, wondering why one of England's most promising young fullbacks can't get a sniff ahead of these other guys. And we know Klopp's not one to rotate all that much. You know what I mean? So for me, although I'm a huge admirer of the player, he just doesn't represent realism for us for those reasons.
I get that. If it was more because his flexibility, I thought it was a unique one, because it's not like he's just stuck on the right. He can play a few positions, but it might be an easier sell. But I actually get what you're saying. I think, to be honest, guys, I'm not going to go into this tonight, but for us, it's probably, I don't know, it might be easier to look at like someone abroad like Tsimikas or a championship right back who's doing good, but then you might not think. It's a hard one, but you need to bring someone in though, and I think we need to bring someone in the summer for Trent for cover, because I think Nico's probably going to leave in the summer.
Well, I was going to say, Mick, get your opinion on James Justin, and then I'm going to put this to you. What do you do with Nico come summer and it's decision time?
Yeah, I think Nico. I agree with Conroy. I think he's probably, whether he signs permanently with Fulham, Obviously, it looks like we're going to get Carvalho. I imagine the Williams deal is a little sweetener to keep Fulham sweet for the summer to get Carvalho. I think I agree with Evan though, in terms of if we didn't have Tsimikas, who was such a great deputy for Robbo, if we didn't have him, I would agree with you, Conroy, because it would be right. You've got a ready-made right back if Trent's injured or he's suspended or whatever else, and he can play left back in the meantime while he can fill in there and then come in for right back when he need be. But the fact that we've got Tsimikas now, I suppose it depends what happens with Joe Gomez as well. Like you said, if Justin can maybe, I think is he 23, Justin? So he's the same age as Trent. So if he can maybe learn that centre half position as well, depending on what happens with Gomez in the summer.
It's maybe too much, mate. But he's. I just had to give him a shout because I find him so impressive, and like he came from Luton, and people again wrongly as they always do, like these signings, they look down on it, they turn their nose up at it, and he's just been. I think he's been one of their best. I think he's outstanding. I just wanted to give him a shout out.
No, that's fair enough, mate. You give a shout out to who you want, apart from
DJ Spence is good as well, though. DJ Spence, that's a decent shout though, because I think that is plausible. Because he's
Colin with the super chat says, I'd go for John Swift. Can someone educate me on John Swift?
At Reading, he was at, I think, John Swift. I don't know if he's still there.
Okay, because we know the Spence fella has been tearing it up against a couple of teams.
I think that's a good shout by Khaled.
Okay, I'm to be educated on John Swift. I'll do a bit of studying on that. But yeah, look, that is probably one that we need to look at in the summer. But we'll look at that in the summer. We've got loads of football to be played before that. We've got loads of games to be played before that. I'd want to thank the usual Redfellas, and a special thank you for Mick for coming on today. Really, really enjoyed our chat, my friend, and hope to get you on again very soon, my friend.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, whenever you need a space filling, just give me a shout. I'll jump on.
Absolutely. No, I think you're more than a space filler, mate. I think you got the statement right from the off. That's a massive. You know, when you're under pressure and you get bows to your arrow, right?
Yeah.
That early.
I still got it wrong in my head there.
I personally like Mick because he agrees with everything I say, but he seems like a nice guy as well.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
I think I was aiming for Evan. I was like, I'll please Evan, and I think I'll get the rest of everyone there.
You're in.
People in the chat were liking Evan, so I was like, I'll side with Evan, and everyone.
See, Grizz.
Evan makes the thumbnails.
Mick gauged the temperature of the room and realized that I am not only the most handsome one of the Redfellas, but I'm also the most liked. So as you can see, I don't know, but the numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie, but the chat usually rips him to fucking shreds. I don't know. Whatever. You just got it on a good one where they call him all sorts, man. You know what I mean? What does this American know about soccer?
That's my favorite.
That's calmed down a bit too.
That's my favorite. Oh, the first week. I'll never forget the first week. Who's this Yank? You know what I mean? I'm just
just go the Yank. They didn't say Evan, just say the Yank. I was like, that's ridiculous.
But the good thing is, Evan showed a different mentality to Avi, who actually fell by the wayside and couldn't handle the abuse. Guys, the last show, did you guys see the watch along I done with him? And a couple of people came in for the chat, and he started abusing them back and saying, I don't give a shit what they're talking about. And I was like, calm the fuck down. This is what you get.
I missed that one, but you were saying that he had a howler. And
had a fucking howler. It was hilarious. I was laughing, and I was making, because he actually said, guys, I'm just gonna call him out. He actually said Leicester City are a bigger club right now than Arsenal, Spurs, Aston Villa. I can't remember who the other club was. And I said, make that make sense. But you know, whatever. We'll get him back, and we shouldn't talk about him while he's not here, so because there's no defense. But listen, guys, this has been the Redfellas podcast for your post-match reaction to Liverpool 2, Leicester City 0. We go on to Burnley, and then we have the small matter of Inter Milan. It's a great time to be a Red. Rejoice, cherish. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to like on your way out. People are still sending the birthday shouts. Whose birthday shouts are they saying to? There's loads of cakes and candles there. I'm going to tuck into some cake as well now after the people asking.
Naby Keita birthday today.
That's what it is. That's why he wasn't.
Someone's asking about the question there, Grizz, but we can answer that later on in the week. It was about the draft, but it's all in hand. It's all in hand.
Relax. We'll get the draft. It's a special draft. It's
you
not an
guys just
ordinary
wait.
draft. Yeah.
You guys just wait.
You got to let it build up. But guys, I promised Mick an hour. I've kept him for nearly 2. I'm so sorry for that. But once the chat flows, Mick, I'm so sorry, man. It's just so hard to.
Boss, loved it.
Paulie Walnuts, man. I didn't see you in the chat today, man. Was you here? But if
Paulie's had a few comments. Yeah,
Oh,
came in
okay.
halfway through.
One of my favorite guys in the chat.
Paulie, yeah.
Guys, over and out. This has been the Redfellas. Take care. Look after yourself.